Okay, today is May, just a second, I can never do this, May 6th, 2020, and I just wanted to talk quickly about how the governments, I'll clean this off, the different states, the governors of the different states, were, we were hoping that they would unlock the economy because of the honey badger cerveza sickness virus. Apparently you can't say it, otherwise they take your video down like they did me. So I'm kind of at war right now. Um, it's different when it happens to you, and it's really strange that they would they would worry about little old me. So um, I sometimes as I'm falling asleep, I try to listen to podcasts or whatever. If you've ever done that, there's one, TrueNews.com, with I think Rick Wiles is his name, from Florida. He's got a couple other pastors on with him, and he does the news, and he does it from kind of a religious perspective. And he is a pastor, and a couple weeks ago he was saying, or about a week ago, he was saying, okay, there was a protest in California, some people are aware, where a lot of, you know, wannabe church-going members went to the state capitol to protest the governor's decision to keep the churches closed, essentially. There's something to it, like you can have I mean, they have to be sparsed like 6 feet apart, so your whole family, I mean, you could have it outdoor. I mean, it's basically like you can't have church. And so he had linked, and he was saying, I get this guy's idea, and um, and they were kind of pissed off when they were up at the state capitol, and he was saying, it almost sounds like he's trying to incite, an incident, because he's just citing the Constitution and whatnot. But see, since they declared a state of emergency, that puts us under emergency wartime powers, which is kind of like martial law, where they kind of pretend that you still have your constitutional rights, but they've been suspended, and nobody really, even in the police, really knows what to do. But the governors are doing it. Actually, what this is supposed to do is bring us into the FEMA, um, sort of the FEMA plan, emergency plan, where, like, I'm in Utah. They have like I think 10 different regions. Utah's in region 8, and the FEMA emergency plan for a pandemic is to have 10 governors, or a governor of each region, not elected governors, but appointed governors. And I think they're appointed by the president. I'm not 100% sure about that. But the states will be split up into these FEMA regions, and you can look it up on the internet what region you're in or how many. I think it's 10, but it might be 12. So I think that's probably the next step. I think that's where we're going, is the FEMA emergency plan. Okay, right now we're not under the FEMA emergency plan. The governors of each state are still claiming governorship of the various states as they are. and people are already getting really pissed off. They're running out of money from um, their unemployment. The federal unemployment ran out. There's like 30 to 40 million people applying for unemployment from their regular jobs, like my job. Like everybody thought that they were going to come back, and some of them kind of have, but like they're not paying them as much. Some of them aren't getting as much, um, and they're not. They're the government is out of the um, money for. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to remember all this from rote memory. I hate editing video. The government has run out of its funds for small businesses, where what they do is they give the money to the banks, and then the banks give it to the small businesses at interest, from what I understand. And the federal funds and the bailout money, $1,200. What is that? Versus what they gave Boeing and other companies. Millions, billions of dollars. Okay, so you've got some chump change coming, and there's going to be less people working, so many people filing for unemployment that the unemployment offices are swamped. Even the IRS is swamped. I know, because I haven't filed my taxes for a few years, and I thought, I want some of that money, man. I need some of that, man. Let's see what that's like. And then if you are an undocumented worker, you're not eligible. I mean, they have this on the IRS.gov website, who is not eligible for the any bailout money. And if you got a green card or anything like that, you're not eligible. If you're not a resident U.S., if you're not a legal U.S. citizen. And in fact, I don't think you're even eligible for the unemployment insurance, which ran out. So they've ran out of the money for their unemployment. I think it was like $2.2 trillion initially, that they had passed, Congress had passed. Before the ink had even dried, it was like another $2.5 trillion. So, what is that, 2.7 trillion, something like that? So all the money that's been passed to help small businesses and people has ran out. Plus, where does that money come from? And when you have higher unemployment and less tax receipts, what does that do to your economy? So if you have a job, you should do everything that you can to hold on to that job, is what I'm saying. And I would like to do a few things, just some activist type stuff, other than just, you looking at my ugly mug. You can go out with me and we'll do something. I was thinking about doing something priestly. um, got something planned for Saturday. So, well, it's not really about the coronavirus specifically. It kind of is. I don't know. We thought we'd play a song, me and a couple of friends of mine. We thought we'd play "We Can't Make It Here Anymore" at the corner of the courthouse, and then just, the only problem is the drums. You know, I've got one. If we had a set, we probably couldn't really include a bass. It just takes up too much room, and it's just too much of a pain in the butt, and it's just, how do you do it? So it'd be like a marching band drum set along with a couple guitars and a singer. So these guys, I think, "We Can't Make It Here Anymore," it's actually a slow song, but the way they do it is kind of like punk rock. Anyway, so I was falling asleep listening to Rick Wiles' last night, and what I kind of woke out of my slumber as he was upset, and his voice and his tone had changed, and he was like, "I gotta get out of this chair," because they had started broadcasting from their homes, him and his two other pastors, and they were like all on video, and he's like, "I can't stand this anymore," and they did something to him on Facebook for linking. They delisted him on Facebook and sent him a nasty note just for linking to this protest in California, and it sounds like before he was kind of like saying, yeah, that guy needs to be a little bit careful, but he's a nice guy. I know this pastor, and he's out there he's really daring, the police to come down on him, or the governor to come after him. And he's saying, I don't know if I want to take it that far, but at this point, when they delisted him and they started defunding him, he was like, all right, that's it. I can't take this anymore. It's who's the king? Jesus is the king. It's not us, the people, and it's not the government. Jesus is the king, and his church is within us, and we can't just sit back and let these Luciferians, and I kind of think that the powers that be, if it is as I suspect, they want an incident, like when we went into Iraq, and it just seemed like they wanted to provoke these religious groups. Remember after 9/11, everybody was against Muslims, and I'd never heard of Muslim, and everyone thought the Muslims were terrorists, and still do. So I kind of think that this is the direction they're pushing towards, and when they start getting it, when people start pushing back, or someone's going to get shot, who knows, weird's going to happen, and at some point we're going to see FEMA Region 8, or the FEMA regions with the unelected governors go up, and I believe we haven't seen the last of the viruses. The coronavirus, I don't think, it's pretty much everyone's starting to figure it out. Okay, let's just say that. And if you haven't figured it out, I'm not going to tell you. You just figure it out. What it is, what it does. Where are we on that? Are we overreacting? Why are we still on such a lockdown? Why would you lock down the healthy? In the old days, you would lock down people with tuberculosis, you'd lock down the sick, and when you lock down healthy people, I'm going by Dan Erickson on this. This is the video that kind of got me in trouble on YouTube. But you ideally you would lock down the sick, and you would quarantine the sick, but you don't quarantine the healthy. And in New York, places like that, and everyone's living on top of each other, you're not really, you can't really quarantine a virus, especially like this. So there's a lot of things that are inconsistent, that don't make sense, like you can't breathe on anybody, but I don't know. There's a lot of things. Can you kiss them? And other things. So I just wanted to make you guys aware that I'm actually seeing folks rise up now, or wanting to rise up. Rick Wiles, he's a good guy. He's saying that's it. We're going back to our church, and then we're gonna start doing our programs back from our church, and I can't stay at home anymore, and we're going back to work, and maybe they can just still, do their program from different rooms. But he was saying, I can't sit in front of this microphone. I got to get up, you know, I got to preach. And it just doesn't feel like preaching from this microphone, and I can't see anybody. So I think that's a lot of people are tired of that, and they're tired of, another thing is, even some of the rules, and you look at some of the rules in these different states, and I mean, I'm in Utah, and it is nothing like the crackdowns going on in other states, like California and Indiana and whatnot. And it's almost as though, see, if you stay inside, I know this. Here's something about prison. Okay, let's just say I know this. If you're the guy that just lays down the whole time that you're in prison, you're gonna be. You're more likely to fall into a downward spiral of despair and become unhealthy. And when you get out, you can't stand up for more than 4 hours at a time. So I knew a guy like that, and he couldn't stand up, and he was a little bit unhealthy. But the way to survive prison is, one of the ways is, you have to have a routine. You have to get up at the same time every day. You have to exercise your body, and you have to exercise your mind, and you got to do everything at a certain time, and you got to keep going, man. Well, you'll go insane. You'll go insane, or somebody will get the better of you. But if you're always on doing this routine, these routines, they'll keep you on your toes. Right now, there's a lot of people sitting at home, and I forgot what that was like, being unemployed and drinking a lot, and and stuff like that, and how depressing that actually was. And then I started going to the gym, and I quit drinking, and I did all this stuff, and now I'm getting half the hours at work, and I started to come back, started doing the same kind of things, and then I finally realized, gotta snap out of it. It's just like before, man. I've been here before a couple times, so it's all similar. So if you're listening to this from home, you gotta get yourself up in the morning. Even if you don't feel like it, you'll feel like it within about a half an hour. A lot of good supplements you can take, like DL-phenylalanine, whatever it is, tyrosine's good, L-glutamate's good. Um, you just got to get up and, I mean, there's 5 good ones if you want to exercise, but let's just say you don't have any exercise equipment. Where is that damn thing? Oh god, I got this garbage all over the place. I just want to show you my bag of. Oh, I bought this a while ago. It's they're the bungees, right? You hook it up to your door. I probably have to do it outside because it's kind of noisy, but go do that. Do some. It'll just tone you up. Those bungees, they'll, for the most part, will help tone you. There's a lot of great cardio you can do, but you'll figure it out. Just stay away from sugar. I take vitamin B, C, D, a multivitamin, and they all look like horse pills, and they're real expensive. It's the Mega Food whatever kind, not the kind you buy from Walgreens, because those aren't real vitamins. I take a probiotic called Vitalzine for your gut, and I had spoken previously on taking fiber. The prices on fiber didn't really go up. At the time, I was trying to compare the price of buying fiber for more storage space in place of toilet paper, because it doesn't back you up unless you take too much. But this sounds gross, but you can literally just wipe one time and you'll look at your toilet paper, guys do that, and there won't be anything on it. Wipe, fold it over, guys do that too. Wipe again, nothing on it. And I did a 2 month experiment where, without the taking the a tablespoon or two of fiber every day, I went through exactly one roll of toilet paper a week, and then I did a month taking 1 to 2 tablespoons of fiber a day, and it doubled my toilet paper supply. And the price of toilet paper has doubled, and fiber hasn't. So that's a good thing to stock on your shelves, and it's good for you. It's good for your stomach. That good gut bacteria, is good for your immune system. Probiotics are good for your immune system. It's good if you're transitioning to different types of foods that you might have in storage. Something, just something to think about. Kids, when they get diarrhea, it's a good thing to give them. But this was the cheapest. I think it's like for 24 ounces. I think it was, I can't remember. I think I had it written down. I think I got it here. It was $18. And it equaled 20 rolls of toilet paper. So this is 20 rolls of toilet paper for $18 or something like that. I can't remember. I put $50 equals 80 rolls. Why did I do that? 20, 40. I think I split it up, but yeah, I believe this was like 1850, and it just makes your toilet paper go a lot longer. And it's like I said, toilet paper is actually expensive. Who knew, right? So I think I've said everything I wanted to say. I just noticed that some of the folks in the churches who were before saying, were otherwise, in the restaurants saying, it's going to pass, it's fine, we need to do this, everybody, let's all get together and do what the government says. Now a lot of them are like, shit, man, I'm out of money. Or they're losing their jobs, they're losing their shirts, and it's like the government knows nothing. They know nothing, and I think maybe they do, and Trump's just kind of waiting. This is what some people think, is that Trump is just kind of waiting to see what the governors do, the governors that we have, so he can see, what kind of dictators we got around here. So give them a little bit of rope to hang themselves on, or a little bit of a leash, and then he'll come back and get reelected. Um, I have this theory: if they take out Trump, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Don Trump, his son, run for the presidency at some point, or Congress or something. Don Trump, I'd vote for him. Mr. Skinny, Mr. Eat like a hamster. That's what he said. He used to be a big guy. Donald Trump's son, Don Trump, he was a big guy, and he lost a ton of weight. His philosophy, I read this from him, he was saying that he lost a lot of weight by eat when you're hungry, like a hamster eats when it's hungry. Unless you give it MSG, and then it'll automatically have cravings for food when MSG is in all our food, and aspartame, and sugar. So these things also, they're neurotoxins, and they lower your immune system, so stay away from those things. And I also wanted to make one more point that has anybody noticed what's going on with the farmers these days? Yeah, they're talking about how there's a lot of farmers getting rid of their food, and the reasons given kind of are a little suspicious to me, that because the restaurants are closed down, they're having to slaughter their animals and plow up their fields. So are people eating less? Why are the farmers dumping their milk? Why are they selling less? Why are they really selling less? Because people got to eat, right? Are you seeing less on the store shelves? So if you take anything from this video, I would like to keep in mind that, in my opinion, we're headed for a global famine. And that famine probably began around winter time. You know, it reminds me of strawberries that come in at the restaurant, and they would be like $40 a case. And during the winter, it's harder to get them, and they're not as good. A lot of the fruit that we get in the restaurants, they weren't as good, and they cost more. They're harder to get. And with all this, it's going to be harder to get, especially with all the tariffs and the problems we're having with other countries, like China. We get a lot of stuff from them. I don't know if we get a lot of produce, but there is a global famine that we're approaching, right? Does anybody agree with me? It's kind of like I haven't quite figured it out yet, but when I see and hear from farmers all this going on about what they're doing, and they're not being their products aren't being purchased, and they're not allowed to give this stuff away. Um, Very odd, very odd. I heard Wendy's ran out of hamburgers at one point, and it doesn't surprise me, since maybe everyone's just going to Wendy's instead. I see Wendy's just totally backed up, because you can go through the drive-through to get your junk food. Pizza Hut, they've taken off, man. You want a job, you can go get one with Pizza Hut. They're hiring. I already know. I know that. But I'm still making more doing what I'm doing, so find that job and keep it. Till next time, Troy out. Be well. Be well. Stay safe. And watch what happens to the sheeple around you. Watch for sheeple, people who you would normally think of as sheeple. Watch as they start to wake up, because I've noticed a few things with a few people lately. So um, remember, it's a recession when your neighbor's out of a job. It's a depression when you're out of a job, and that's kind of how I'm seeing the reaction of folks lately. And until next time, it's me, Troy. I'm going to bed. Talk to you later. Bye.